Happy effing Friday, everybody. This is the pilot episode of my new podcast. My guest today is Kathie Sonner, an investor, business owner, doula, and yogi. And I'm so happy that she was my first guest on the show. Let's go. Oh, dang it. Well, hi, Kathie.
Hi, Dave.
Welcome to the show. This is the pilot episode.
So honored to be here.
Why don't you give us a little bit of background on who you are?
I am originally from Southern California, born in the late 60s in LA, grew up in Washington State, spent my summers in California. I kind of had a hybrid childhood, really. It was the best of both worlds. Once I graduated high school, I got married right out of high school, had 3 babies, raised kids in my 20s, moved back to California 2001 and really just settled there to raise my kids. Left Temecula in 2020, August of 2020, and came out here to Nashville, Tennessee. It's where I am now.
Where were you in Washington State? Because Kim and I, we grew up in Washington. Where were you?
Yeah, so in 69, moved up to Everett and then headed over to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho for a couple years, and then ended up in Southeast Washington. It's known for Hanford, the nuclear site that's out there.
So actually, I was born in Pensacola, but very early, my family moved to Kennewick. And my dad worked at Hanford. He worked for Westinghouse. Lived there for, I think, 6 years before moving to the west side of the mountains to the Seattle area. Why did your parents move up to Everett? Or why did you move up to Everett? Maybe you moved as a young child just by yourself, struck out into the world early.
So my mom and dad wanted to get us out of LA.
We lived in Kennewick at the same time.
Yeah, we did. I was in middle school at Park Middle School when you lived there in 79. There's only 6 degrees of separation.
And apparently maybe just one.
And I think we just hit a few layers.
You get a big enough network, your degrees of separation goes to 1.
Nice.
And then Temecula. So in Temecula, you actually started a business.
I did, yes. So that's really when I think my entrepreneurial self came out, because from the time we got there, I was a stay-at-home mom when we got there. In 2002, I started a business as a mobile notary, and I was signing documents for lenders in escrow. And that's when we accumulated the rental properties and had those, and then ended up splitting up, and then the Big Short. So everything went kaputs. And
Lehman.
Yeah, changes happen. It's good. It was a good change. And so moving forward into the teens, I really wanted to explore business options. I had only ever done independent contracting, and I wanted to learn how to run a brick and mortar. So I bought a coffee stand on Balboa down in San Diego and bought it for about $15,000. Put in a new floor, figured out how to run a business with employees and overhead and daily cash sales and inventory and scheduling and marketing and all the things. And realized about 6 months into it, I'm like, okay, I feel like I've learned everything I bought the building to learn. So then I put it on the market, and it sold 11 months and 2 weeks after I bought it for $35,000. So
Great.
I captured an education and a nice little check in my pocket. So then I turned my sights to, I'd really started to get into hot yoga at that time. And I was in a class at a Bikram yoga. For yogis out there, you know what Bikram is. 90 minutes, 26 postures, 2 times. And I'm laying there with my head on the floor, and I'm like, I'm going to open a yoga studio in Temecula. And it was just a fact that I just said to the ether. And because we had nothing like that in Temecula, I had to go to San Diego to take a class. So set my sights on that. Actually signed a lease on a location in 2013, and then nothing ever happened.
Just on a whim?
Just nothing ever happened. Like, the guy who leased the place to me was supposed to be my GC, and he just kind of ghosted. And the whole thing just kind of went away. It was really kind of bizarre because I was under contract, but he was just gone. And so I went and dropped the keys off at the office where I had signed the lease. And I said, I guess we're done here, and turned around and went another direction. So
Okay.
I guess you could call it a failure, but I think it was more of a failure to launch in 2013. So in 2014, he started a career and said, I don't want to do that anymore. And I'm like, all right, but I still need to do it. And it was just something just kept tugging at my shoulder, like, hey, remember that yoga studio you were going to open? You need to do that. We had this really interesting conversation because he's like, yeah, but be realistic. Oh, that's the wrong thing to say to a visionary. I don't believe in realism like ever. And I was like, what? Da, 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 and we had this good back and forth. So I was on my own. So I sourced the location, the commercial building. I negotiated the lease. I hired a contractor. I hired an electrical engineer, hired the architect. So I hired my team, signed the lease, found my spot, just went to work and reconstructing, what I thought a hot yoga studio should be. I hired instructors. I was also a new instructor myself. Did all the interior design, did everything. Didn't think about marketing. It was like a month before we were going to open. And my oldest daughter, she's like, what are you doing for marketing? And I'm like, um, I don't know. And she's like, Mom, you're opening in a month. Like you need to tell people you're there. And I said, well, some ladies showed up last week with their yoga mats. So I think they think we're already open, and she's like, here, give me your phone. And she takes my phone and she's like, and and I'm like, what's Instagram? That's how much I was not online, right? What's Instagram? She's like, here. So she starts a Instagram account for Hot Yoga Healthy You, and she put a picture on it, a post. The only post of advertising or marketing said, "Coming soon, Hot Yoga Healthy You." So we opened our doors July 15th, 2015, and it was a huge success in Temecula.
Awesome. I would have, if I would have been an instructor. I've done a little bit of hot yoga. Kim and I have. Um, I think that I would just do a 1 hour long shavasana and maybe just call it hot napping.
That would probably be really successful.
It's great. That's my favorite posture.
Yeah, it's my favorite pose too. Usually with the cold lavender towel over my eyes.
Oh, never had that. That sounds great.
Oh, that's the best. That's the reward at the end of, 60 minutes
Yeah.
in fiery
Oh,
hell.
every time I've done it, you're just like dying on the floor, sweating, becoming a puddle.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then you ended up selling that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that sold successfully, exited that business. In 3 years' time, I had enough cash flow on my books to list at 250K. And my broker said, if you hold on to this for like 2 more years and you still show the same cash flow, you could probably get about 500K for it. And I thought about it for like 2 seconds and I'm like, no, I feel complete. Like there's only two reasons that I did the business in the first place. One is the community needed it. We did not have this in our community and we needed it. And the second reason was, can I really do this? Like, can I do this? This is a big thing. I don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to try. So, yeah, those are the two reasons I did the yoga studio and I successfully exited. Ironically, the keys were handed over exactly 3 years to the date that it opened.
Wow.
Those keys were handed over. I had graduated over 100 new yoga instructors into the community. I had written a teacher training program, got it approved through Yoga Alliance, graduated over 100 students.
So 100 people. You basically populated all of Temecula with yogis.
Yeah, out into the world. It was really fun. It was probably the funnest adventure that I've done.
What was what was the biggest mistake?
The heating system. I expected the electrical engineer to understand basic dynamics of heat in a hot yoga room, and he put the heat ducts on the ceiling. It was a 15-foot high ceiling. It should have had cold air returns at the bottom or had the heat coming in through the bottom of the room. So what ended up subsequently had to put in fans around the room to keep the air rotating because you'd go into down dog and your butt's up here in the hot and your hands and feet are cold. So
Hmm.
it's like, that was such a big mistake, right? In the build out. I guess I expected more of him than he was able to provide. I just thought that would be part of what he did, was figuring out the airflow and the proper ventilation to make sure that there was heat at the floor, knowing that heat rises. You don't put those vents at the top of on the ceiling in 15-foot tall room.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. How did you recover from it?
Incorporated the fans. It's really all we could do at that point.
So then you went to Nashville.
Yeah, left California in August. Left occupied California looking for America because we all know what was going on in the world at that time. Yeah,
Yep. We're all refugees.
time to exit as far as what was happening.
So you went to the free state of Tennessee.
Free state of Tennessee, came out here. Everything once we left California was open. My favorite gas station, I walked in and there was no plexiglass between me and the cashier. And I looked at her and I go, "Oh, you're not afraid of me?" And she goes, "No, ma'am, I ain't afraid of much." And it was just the cutest response. And when I got out here, I was like, gosh, what am I going to do next? What's next for Kathie? I've done so many different things in my lifetime, and I am always like excited for the next adventure. So I started a couple things actually. I became um, a birth doula. So I got certified through Dona International so that I can support moms and dads in labor and delivery. And about the same time, I was also interested in real estate. I had met some women at the local RIA. They were in another networking group that I wasn't a part of, but we started meeting on kind of a regular basis. And a couple of them were doing some lending and some fix and flip. And so I went out and bought a fix and flip from a wholesaler that I had met at one of the local RIAs. And it turned out to be a horrible decision because I was like flying by the seat of my pants. I didn't underwrite it properly. I didn't inspect it properly. I took the wholesaler at his word, which we all know wholesalers are liars, right?
ARV was $3 million.
Yeah, exactly. And
It would only need 3,000 of cosmetic repair.
that's it. That's all. Yeah, it's simple. So yeah, it turned out to have foundation issues. Had no idea how to fix it, and I was a little afraid of it. So I bought that in May and didn't do anything to it for like 6 months. It just sat there.
Sitting on it.
Just sat there. I'm like, I have no idea how to fix this. And so that's in the fall, I came across Pace, like he does like a 3 day, 2 hours a night Zoom on Gator to introduce. Gator was pretty new then. And that was fall of 2023. Gator was still really new. But I watched it and I'm like, this looks really interesting. Maybe this is what I should be doing instead. So I joined Gator, subsequently ended up meeting someone in the Gator community that could help me get through some of the construction stuff. So I went to Squat Up in 2024. First time meeting, all of these people. Dove into Owners Club. Actually, I ignored Owners Club for the first couple days at Squat Up. I'm like, oh, it's not for me. It's not for me. Pace said, this is only for people that have done their first deal. Well, I haven't done my first deal as a Gator. I don't qualify. So I'm walking back into the room on the very last day, and someone from the table they grab me and they're like, "Hey, are you going to sign up for Owners Club?" So I took the leap of faith. It's funny, I don't always see things like that. And here's another example. It's probably a bit better to express. So I was in Owners Club for that full first year. And then come spring this past year, Pace is texting me and he's like, "How come we never did a one-on-one?" And I was like, "Oh, I go, "I didn't know." And he goes, "Why didn't you ask?" And I said, "I didn't know I could ask." How often does that show up in my life? Right? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. How many times have I not seen the opportunity because I didn't know I was allowed to ask the question? Isn't that interesting?
Closed mouths go unfed.
Yes. Yeah. I go back to like 80% of your belief systems are instilled by the time you're 8 years old. So then I like to think deep. Like I spend a lot of time in my brain trying to figure things out. Like, where did that come from? What was it that I either experienced or learned or was told as a child that I'm not allowed to ask?
Mm.
And for me, it comes down to it's also why I'm not a very good negotiator. I'm also not really good with people being smartasses with me because I take them for word for face value. I don't understand
We'll have a hard relationship then.
you. I've gotten used to, and I've lightened up a little bit. Right, I'm learning finally.
I never would have thought that you didn't do well with sarcasm or, that kind of, I don't know, what is it, just ribbing kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, the sarcasm thing, when I was a kid, if I tried to negotiate or if I was sarcastic, I was told I was being rude and, just accept it. Stop arguing. I got that a lot. Stop arguing. So little girl Kathie learned that negotiation is arguing and asking too many questions is not allowed. I just need to shut up and accept the way it is. So weird, coming up to Pace and going, oh, we haven't had our one-on-one. He goes, why didn't you ask for one? I didn't know I could. Like, it's huge, right? So every day, I mean, I just learn more and more every day. It's not always about the next transaction. Sometimes it's about what next layer can I peel off of my personality and discover a new version of myself.
Yeah. What was did you have your one-on-one with Payson?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got to follow up then.
I did put in the request. I will say that. I put in the request. However, it's, he's a busy guy. It has not been fulfilled yet.
You
Yeah.
got to have your calendar done too, right?
Yeah. My calendar actually looks really good. I'm still paper and pen with a lot.
At least for a certain type of person or learner that has to take motion or take action or write something down for it to actually get into their brain and be cemented.
Like, man, if I could just spend a couple days a week with Pace and walk through the steps and watch what he does and listen. I'm such a good listener. If I could do one thing, that would be that. I would want to be his shadow for a week, 10 days.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Yeah, I've heard many times that he's just like, what is it? He likes to say a heat-seeking missile for helping people.
Yep.
He just zeroes in on their problems, solves it in 5 minutes, and then the person's able to go level up.
Yep.
There's one more thing I wanted to do. Obviously, I wanted to make sure that I thank you for joining me today. If anybody wanted to get in touch with you, how would they go about doing that? You have Instagram. I know that you have a podcast.
I do. I have a YouTube podcast by my name, Kathie Sonner. Very easy to find. Instagram, very easy to find at Kathie Sonner. You can send me a DM. I actually prefer to be texted, believe it or not. Email is not my favorite thing. If someone wants to reach me, text me 951-218-5410. That's my phone number. Send me a text. I will ask for 48 hours to respond because of my work as a doula. I may be at a birth and not answer you for 12 to 24 hours. So I need that grace period if someone does text me, but that is the best way to get a hold of me.
Well, I know that I'll now be signing you up for the daily cat facts. So you're welcome for that. And thank you for joining me today. I love getting to know you better. Um, I just immediately felt like I had a connection with you, and I'm glad that we've been able to pursue that more.
Yes, me as well. Thank you so much, Dave.
See you soon.
Thank you.